Well, we made it. It's December now, 2021, last month of the year. It is officially meteorological winter, and calendar winter is not that far around the corner. By December, in some seasons, it can be dynamite hunting. It can also tend to be stale. Here in the Pacific Flyway, in our area, it seems to be a little stale. There's a lot of water around. Ducks are here, but they have a lot of places to go, and they just seem really intelligent to hunters' tactics. So what that means is you have to change your tactics to match the late season. Make sure you're really concealed. Make sure you're hidden. I always try to make sure I make my decoy spread more realistic and even shrink it if I need to. By this time, mallards are pairing up, so I try to put them in pairs, and I put away the decoys I was using October and November, which were older flambeau, hand-painted decoys for more realistic Avian X, and just decoys that look better, cleaner, more real by this time of the year, because ducks, especially mallards, are approaching their full plumage, and you want to replicate that in your decoy spread. I also use a lot of goose decoys, not only for Canada geese, which I'm hoping to get my first one of the season this month, but also for mallards. Mallards love their bigger cousins. They're safe, so I find I shoot more mallards over goose decoys going into December, and especially the last month of the season. And to go along with the decoys, I really become very conservative with my calling. If the conditions allow, I will call a lot, but if not, I'm going to try to not call that much at all and just let the decoys do the work and be in the location that the birds want to be, which comes down to scouting. I'm also watching the weather very closely still. That's a theme all throughout the season. By this time, though, we haven't had any major cold systems come through. It's all been Pacific storms pretty much. It's been very wet, very windy, very rain infested. And so because of that, there's water everywhere. All the rivers are out, all the fields are flooded. So we're looking still for the big winter events to happen. We're looking for ice, snow, thunder, hail, really big winds, northeast, northwest, north winds. That will definitely change the current status quo in the hunter's favor for sure, because it'll make the ducks go to places that we can hunt them again with more little bit ease of access. Always remember going into December that the early season is over. All the dumb and lame ducks are dead, or the main migration has happened, so I think, and they've moved on, and you really have to get smarter with the birds, evolve your tactics. Try not to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and give a different presentation every day that I'm out there to match the conditions and the biology that is going on. So I hope December's a good one. Here we go. I swear what brings me back time and time again to go duck hunting is this part of the hunt where you sit in the dark, look at the stars, you think, reflect, waiting for daylight. It's the best. I think this is why I keep coming back for sure, is enjoying Earth at nighttime. It's very dark right now. The moon is very thin crescent, so there isn't much light out at night at the moment. But I'm back over here east of the Cascades, chasing ducks. Already it's a lot different conditions than what it was 2 weeks ago. It's not as active and noisy right now as it was then. I think that influx of birds perhaps moved on, but I'm hunting a storm today. It's supposed to get wind up to 20 miles per hour out of the west, with gusts stronger than that. happens. Ducks usually go to their traditional flightways. And we'll see if this is the flight path today.
Come here. Holly, dead bird. Dead bird. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it, Holly. Go get it. Go on. Go get it. Given it about an hour at this spot, and the wind still hasn't picked up yet. It's trying. It's like getting a little breezy at times. There are still a lot of ducks here, but they all left in the morning. A few of them came back from night feeding, but they were quiet and they woke up as the sun came up and they took off. I got 3 ducks so far. Should have at least 2 more. Got a half a box of shells left, and I'm going to change tactics here soon. If it gets windy, I'm going to go one place, but I might also go jump shoot a pond. Holly's having a really good time. She really liked retrieving the last duck I got. I dropped this mallard straight overhead, and it went down the bushes behind us. I walked up to it, and it scared out onto the water. I shot it. She went and got it. She was so happy to have that duck in her mouth. She was prancing all over the place. They have just as much fun as we do when they got a job to do. We'll see what happens here in the next hour. Dead duck, Holly. Dead duck. Go get it. Good girl, Holly. just as the windstorm started to pick up, got my last couple of birds. Most of them I picked up in the first hour before the wind even started to blow hard. It was still relatively calm. Poly retrieved just about every single one. Had some decoying birds, had some pass shots, had some overhead shots. December starting to look pretty good. Here's a closer look at the birds today. Quite a few hens. Got 2 hen mallards right there. There's Holly's proud drake. I think I got an immature drake gadwall in there. Got some hen gadwalls. And that shoveler there was the last one to come in. I think it's an immature drake. It's got the wing speculums of a drake, just not the head color yet. They usually don't brighten up until January. Going on 2 hours of this. And not even to the hard part of the pass yet. Is it worth it for a limit of ducks? You bet. It is December the 12th. We're almost halfway through the last month of the year. And I'm hunting the back slough here at the farm. I already have 4 ducks in my possession. It's been really stormy the first half of the month, so I haven't gotten too much footage just because I want to keep my filming equipment dry and safe. So really haven't had too many opportunities to do some good filming. Hoping today's a bit different though. It's dry, cold. The second half of December is looking like we're going to get some winter weather arriving. So we'll see what happens. Well, it's about noon. We didn't do too bad today. Pretty much all of these were bagged in the first few minutes, and hours went by. Got bombed by a spread of ringneck ducks. I winged him and he went down over there in the grass. Took the aquapod over. Couldn't see him at first, and Nick was like, go in deeper into the brush and see if you scare him out. Sure enough, he started swimming the opposite direction. I put a lead on him really close, and usually they're really nice, pretty birds to look at, but this one has seen better days. Turned his head into hamburger, but the meat is still good. Should be able to still breast that ringneck duck out and eat him. Late season tactics are for sure setting in today. A lot slower. The birds seem a lot warier, call shy, and waiting for that inclement weather to arrive, which is still kind of holding off here in the Flyway. With all the forecasts moving into next week,
calling for an Arctic blast. So that's really what we need right now, is some inclement, big changes in the weather to stir things up a bit. We had our first tiny little storm move through, and I'm really liking the colors of this shot right here. When you get that dark gray haze off on the horizon, there's a rainbow starting to form, and then you get sun behind you, and it makes that contrast. Hands are definitely numb. I can barely hold the camera right now. Tips of my fingers are very cold. It definitely feels like snow out. By the looks of it, that inclement weather is not far off in distance and in time, and we're probably not going to miss this one. Always remember, every storm in our life usually passes. And on the back side of that, it's crystal clear blue skies. Can't wait for the next hunt. It is Saturday, December the 18th, and I'm back down on the lower Columbia for a Delta waterfowl veterans hunt. Here to do some filming, we get some good action footage. Everybody's just getting ready right now. Head on out to the location. Everybody's kind of loading up to the boats.
So you're down here at the end. For those who would like to stay and shoot some divers, we would like to set up a diver spread this afternoon after we have lunch with work. He was supposed to come hunting with us, but he couldn't. So, with that being said, we're going to have lunch a little earlier with him. And then anybody interested in going out for some bluebills and canvasbacks, we're going to do so in the afternoon. So if you get tempted by a big Drake bluebill this morning, I'd shoot it. But otherwise, I'd let a lot of them fly by if I were you. And this afternoon, we'll go have one hell of a time with Danny and Bob. I tell you what, you ain't never diver hunted like these two sons of bitches can diver hunt. So, little safety briefing for those of us who are new. Katie and Taylor and Logan. If y'all would remember when you're in your blinds, the 10 and 2 or the 45-degree rule. Please don't shoot over each other's head. No muzzle blasting. If Jesse points his gun at anybody, kick him right square in the fucking ass.
Poor Jesse.
So don't shoot over the the dogs. Don't when they're in the decoys. And for those of us running marsh rats, don't shoot at me when I'm in the decoys.
Shoot him! I was like, on the water? He was like, yeah!
What do you got there, Jesse?
I got a nice Drake green teal. They're not normally this colored. I've only seen them this colored up at your place before. And I think he's going with that buffer head that I got from your place too.
You're gonna mount it?
Yeah.
Here we have Katie. She's our veteran for the day. And we got a couple nice birds there. Why don't you tell us about them?
This is only the second time I've ever gone duck hunting, but it's definitely the most successful trip I've ever had. And I had a blast.
What do you plan on doing with those ducks?
Taxidermying them.
So you have your own taxidermy?
Mm-hmm. I want to start doing ducks, but I needed ducks to practice on, honestly.
That's awesome. Close up those ducks there. Get some really good shots. Outright killed a few of them this morning.
I think it was one of these ones I just dropped her.
Yeah. In the morning darkness,
One
too.
shot, one duck. That was good.
I'm super excited.
So we have moved positions, hopefully to a spot we can shoot more divers. Since that's really all that seems to be flying around today. It's really not the best conditions for puddlers on the coast. There are a lot of bluebills around. There's a diver string right there, all set out and ready to attract. Alright, so what kind of duck is that?
It's a beautiful hen canvasback.
That was a big flock that came in. That's awesome. Is that your first one?
It's the first hen I've shot. I've shot a couple drakes.
And we got First Lieutenant Sid. What's your last name?
Hewitt.
Hewitt.
Very nice. Hopefully we can get more.
He's killing some cans.
Back at the dock. Veterans Hunt is over. A lot of divers got shot today. Very few puddlers. A lot of the birds that were here are gone.
Looks like you guys did alright.
Dog did awesome. Tuppy was great, man. I was excited, man.
Pile of ducks right there.
Well, that bees are probably saying, "Where's the eater?"
Yeah. Our first dog, my granddad had one that had been smuggled out of Hungary. Yeah. Hungarian Vizsla was smuggled out. They smuggled it out in the water. Yeah. So I didn't know that. I know they smuggled it out, but I didn't know it was. That's Archer. Yeah, it was a good time.
Archer, quit being all bossy.
that was awesome. It is Wednesday, December the 22nd. It is the first official day of winter after the solstice. The solstice was yesterday. So we are experiencing the darkest days in the northern hemisphere right now. I'm down here at the farm, hunting in Playhouse 1. There's been about 50 to 60 big Canadas using the farm this whole week. So I came out here to set up for them. I got ducks out too. There are no ducks around though. Very, very, very stale for the ducks. Not that many of them. There's a lot of buffleheads. There were some teal around this morning. Some widgeon. I got one hen mallard in the bag already, but there's just nothing flying. So I waited till about, I don't know, I'd say about 9:45, and I heard that moaning coming over the trees over there. 5 Canadas came in. I didn't touch the call at all. No calling. They landed way out far from the decoys. Started preening, drinking water, and they walked over towards the houses, and then they turned around. And a couple of them got in the water and started swimming right for me, and the rest of them followed. And they swam right up to the decoys, walked up on the bank, walked up onto the grass, right towards the spread. When I felt like they were close enough, I stood up, and I meant to shoot one on the ground, but don't know how I missed. They all got up. I dumped 2 with 1 shot, and then got another one with my 3rd. So I got 3 out of those 5. As soon as I picked them up, I had to go out and slay 2 of them on the water. Got back in the blind, got all situated. I looked up, literally, and there was probably a dozen of them coming in, wings bowed, coming straight into the decoys. I did not touch the call again. I just sat there, and they came in, they went wide, and they turned around, and they came right in front of the blind, and I picked off my last bird there. And that's kind of cool. I mean, these are just quality, big graders. Except for these, I think I got a couple lessers in here. But I mean, oh man, I can barely lift it up. It's just nothing but goose. It's so heavy. I mean, look at these tanks. It strains my neck to pick them up. They're so huge. The size of that neck on that one. This one here is even bigger. It's kind of cool that I was able to capture on film the first limited Canadas I've ever gotten at my farm. I've always gotten 3, 2, never killed 4. And this blind here is actually a pretty good goose blind. They tend to like to be over in this corner of the farm sometimes. So I don't even want to hunt anymore. I just want to pick up and go in while I'm ahead. I don't think anything's really going to happen for the ducks today. I think they've moved on. We need that Arctic weather to show up. And the way the forecast is looking, it's not very far off. And here is a closer look at a limit of Canadas. Definitely don't get to touch a limit of geese as often as I get to limit on ducks. They are a harder bird to hunt for sure. They're just so safety oriented and wary. Decoys got them today though. No calls. Just the look of the decoys. And the location. And they've been using this field all week. Here is today's decoy spread. I took a little bit of extra time this morning and cut some fresh bows and put them on the blind, and it really helped, I think, for concealment. It was the blind was getting kind of flimsy by this time of the season after flooding a couple of times and swiping away the brush. Definitely added some green to it. And I used about 2 dozen Canada goose decoys. A mixture of floaters, shells, and full bodies. Here's my group of floaters here that are kind of swimming in, and then they rest along the bank, and usually when geese hit the shore, they might rest for a sec, and then they slowly get up and they start walking up the bank and start walking up the slope, feeding. And that's what those are doing right there. I always try to make sure my goose decoy spreads tell a story. You know, the geese have landed on the water, they've walked to the shore. As soon as they feel safe, they'll walk up further into the pasture. I'm using my better looking decoys today, since it is the late season. They got really good detail in their feathers and in their flocked heads. Well, it's about noon, and that does it for today. There's really no ducks flying. Got my limit of geese. I'm gonna pick up these decoys and get out of here. Hopefully they'll come back and use the field again tonight or tomorrow for the rest of the week. Getting news that got some bitter cold coming our way. I'm gonna hunt one more day here on the west side, and then I think I'm gonna head over east of the mountains to catch up on some of those cold mallards over there in those cornfields. Awesome day, awesome hunt. Pretty happy with my shooting.